Hi guys, it's Anissa. Welcome back to my channel. I know I'm looking a little scary, but don't run away. I can explain. In today's video, I did a full face using makeup that I'm getting rid of, products that are not worth the money, whatever you would like to call it. In today's video, you're gonna see products that maybe I have multiple shades in, so I'm getting rid of these. I just didn't like it. I found a dupe that's better than it. It's not worth the money. It could be for a lot of different reasons. Not some of my best work, but not anywhere near the worst. I told myself that I was not gonna let this video break my spirits because I just love makeup, and when I don't love makeup, it makes me sad. This video is these products' last chance to show me if they are worth keeping or not. And I did actually keep a couple of the products. So if you wanna know how I came up with this gorgeous Vogue look, then make sure to keep on watching. But before I go any further, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. I post on this channel every 4 days, so you never have to miss me for too long. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. I have made a vow that even though I'm using products that I hate and I'm getting rid of, I'm gonna try my absolute hardest to make this turn out decent. Also, I do have a scratch on my face from my little kitty. It was my fault. I'm gonna go ahead and start out with brows, and today I'm gonna be using the ColourPop Brow Boss Eyebrow Pencil, and I have the color Soft Black. This honestly really isn't terrible, but it's not great either. The reason I'm getting rid of this is because I do have products that are cheaper and work better than this. I just wish it was a little bit more pigmented and a little bit more creamy, but I can definitely make it work if I have to. Formula is just a little bit drier than what I like, and I'm literally having to press so hard to get the pigment. This is what I get from going back and forth on my hand 20 times. This is what I get from like 2 swipes. I was honestly really disappointed. I really tried really hard to like this because I've heard really good things about it. I don't have a pot concealer that I'm getting rid of, so I went ahead and quickly carved out my brows using this L'Oreal True Match Super Blendable Concealer Crayon, and this is in the color W678. I've actually really been liking this to carve out my brows, and it's great because it's drugstore. It's so funny that I'm using this because I was going to get rid of this because I don't ever reach for concealer, crayons, or sticks or anything like that, and I was like, oh my gosh, why don't I try carving my brows out with it? And I love it. I also don't have an eyeshadow primer that I'm getting rid of, so I quickly went ahead and primed my eyelids using the Cara Beauty eyeshadow primer, and this is in the color Tan. I want to backtrack for a second because I thought that I didn't have a brow pomade, but I do have one that I'm getting rid of. Pink Honey Wonder Whip Brow Pomade, and this is in the color 1 Ebony. It has a really good formula, but it's just a little bit too gray for me. It gives my brows like a gray tinted type of look, and I'm not really into it. I'm really not super picky about color usually because most of the time it doesn't bother me, but with this it's more so the undertone that bothers me. Now we are ready for eyeshadow. So I do have a palette, and then I have some single eyeshadows that I want to go ahead and use. First, we have this Too Faced Natural Matte Eyeshadow Palette. It's just a regular matte palette. The thing is, I've never even tried this. I would not use half the colors in this palette, so I'd rather give it to somebody who would hook up into my crease really quick. And if I did ever want to use a lighter matte on my lid, I have colors very similar to this in other palettes. They're very pigmented and they are blending out nicely. I actually didn't even purchase this. I got this in a BoxyCharm. I kept telling myself, oh, I'm gonna use it, I'm gonna use it. 4 years go by and I still haven't used it. I'm gonna take the color Risky Biz and put that on my outer crease. There's a little bit more purple in it. They're just more cool toned. That's not my side of makeup. I'm not really into the cool tones. 2 single eyeshadows here. I'm only gonna use one of them. Tom Ford Private Shadows. This one is in the color 2 Warm Leatherette, and this one is in the color 4 Photographic. These aren't bad, I don't think, but I don't ever use them. They were a gift from my mom. I tend to struggle with single shadows because I'm used to having like a palette where you have everything right in front of you, versus with single shadows, you have to like remember to pull them. So it's a really pretty shimmer. It's not something that I would recommend to you guys because I know that there's cheaper that's better. So this is more of like a collector's item, but I am to the point where I literally was filming my Shop My Stash for last month, and I never in my life have been overwhelmed by the amount of makeup that I had until I was filming that video, and I just completely purged. Like I completely stopped filming and I was like, okay, I've got to go through this makeup because it upsets me that I have a lot of this stuff and I don't even use it. And then I got to thinking, you know, like there's so many people that probably would kill to have some of these products that I never use. It's not like I stopped buying makeup because I always buy makeup. I just shopped the VIB sale. So I'm gonna have all that makeup coming in and I want to make room for that stuff. You know, if I'm not using something, what's the point in hanging on to it? Just a very simple eye look, really, really cute. We are gonna do eyeliner. So I went ahead and threw on these e.l.f. Line and Define eye tapes. Just got my eyelashes done. So this is gonna be awful. For eyeliner, I'm going to be using the NYX Matte Liquid Liner, and this is in the color Black. This really is not a bad formula, but I have found that I prefer a pen formula because of my lash extensions. So you see this wand, all of this wand right here is covered in liner. So my lashes clearly are very long. So it's really, really hard for me to get them out the way and not get them all gooped up with liner. So that's why I prefer a pen tip where the product is just concentrated on this little part right here. So I don't have to worry about getting my lashes all messed up. But this is just a preference. I just get so irritated because this takes me so much longer than what the pen does. I do not have the patience for this, guys, and look, it's like all in my lashes. Just something else I wanted to point out, when I use a pen, I don't have to keep on dipping into the product. These are my least favorite wings I think I have ever done. I hate how like thick it is up here. It's so thick because usually when I'm using a pen, I will literally take the pen, start on the outside of my wing, and draw the wing all the way into the inside so it naturally kind of gets thinner and thicker. Versus with this, I was afraid to get this part all over my lashes, so I had to draw my wing and then go in like this, and I don't do that. Start on the face. So this is not a product that I'm getting rid of, but I really don't use it that much. Mario Badescu facial spray with aloe, herbs, and rose water. So I'm just gonna use this to prep the skin. We're gonna somehow be able to walk out the house like this because I have somewhere to be. Touch in Sol No Pore BLEM Prime Essence. Cover FX Mattifying Primer. Really just don't reach for either one of these. They're not bad. Gonna go ahead and go in with the essence first. That actually does not feel half bad. If I am constantly not reaching for a product, then I'm not gonna keep it because I've given myself the opportunity to pick it and I still don't. And that's why I'm also hoping that this one turns out a little bit better than my last one because all these products don't necessarily suck. Going in with the mattifying primer that just had oil come out of it. Yummy. Pure oil. No, 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 no. Okay, I'm telling you right now, if you're using any products that have oil in them and you have oily skin, get rid of it. It is going to clog the heck out of your pores. I don't even want to put this on. The essence I put all over the face, and my mattifying primers I usually just put in my T-zone. When I tried the primer that comes in a bottle, the pink one of the Essence primer, first thing that spilled out of it was oil. And it mattified, but it's definitely silicone based, which is fine. I have two foundations that I'm actually going to go ahead and mix. Black Radiance Color Perfect Oil Free Liquid Makeup, and this is in the color Toffee Caramel. Then I have the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless Foundation, and this is in the color Mocha 360. I'm only getting rid of this because I have a better color in it. This one is a little bit too dark. And then I also have multiple colors in this foundation. I'm gonna go ahead and just mix both of these and hopefully it gives me a decent color. What I like about this Black Radiance foundation is that it has a little spatula on it so you can put it right onto your face. This is the Black Radiance foundation, which is a little bit darker than what I thought it would be. And I was hoping that this would be lighter because I know that this is too dark. So I'm gonna have to mix in some of my NYX drops really quickly. So let me mix some of this on. Okay, so I went ahead and mixed the two together and then put some of my NYX Hue Shifters. This is in the color White. And I got this color right here. I think that this still may be a little bit too dark, but I found that if I put too much of this in my foundation, it makes it really, really runny. And the concealer that I'm using is super, super light. That may also help. Use my Hailey's Beauty foundation sponge. That gave like no coverage. Guys, I'm losing my hope. This is where my spirits get broken. Doesn't look awful, but this is definitely not what I look for out of a foundation. Like, this is the step where we create a clean canvas, okay? And this is not a clean canvas. I actually feel like my scratch mark is even more accentuated than it was, which is really cute. I was able to blend it out and I think it looks a lot better, but with me blending it, it pretty much took like all the coverage that the foundation had. I know that this Maybelline has pretty good coverage, medium to full, and I feel like this had good coverage too. So I don't know, maybe I didn't use a lot. Honestly, a little reluctant to put on a whole lot because it is darker. When I film, I have all of my products laid out in front of me in chronological order. That way I don't forget anything, but I hate it because it's so cluttered. So I've been putting everything in a bin. All my stuff is at the bottom of the bin. So I forgot that I do have these foundation sticks that I can carve out my brows with. Juvia's Place foundation sticks, and I have the color ABIDJAN and NAMIBIA. And the only reason I'm getting rid of these is because I have multiple colors in them, so I kept only one of them. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the shade ABIDJAN. I'm really sorry if I am skewing those names. Honestly, really did not like these foundation sticks for all over the face, but they're really great for carving out the brows. So that's what I'm keeping it for. I feel like I look a little bit better. I do have two concealers that I'm gonna go ahead and mix. This first one right here is the Maybelline Super Stay Full Coverage Under Eye Concealer, and this is in the color Caramel 40. This next one is the Black Radiance HD Corrector. For this one, I really never reached for this ever. I've used it a couple times and I really wasn't super impressed, but I really love the foundation in this line, and then this just has not very good coverage. I actually like thick concealer and consistency because I just feel like it gives me more coverage than more thin ones. Now, remember, just because it's thick and consistency doesn't necessarily means it's thick under the eyes. e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. That's a thicker concealer, but it doesn't feel super thick on the face. My preference for concealer is something that is more full coverage. I really don't believe in medium coverage concealers. For me personally, it's just not what I look for because I really like to have a super concealed, brightened under eye. Since I know that this doesn't have as great of coverage, I'm gonna go ahead and use a brush to blend underneath the eyes. A brush will give you a little bit more coverage than a sponge will. And I will go over it with the sponge, but just to initially blend it out. I haven't looked up close yet, but from far away, it really doesn't look too bad. I feel like I'm like not super talkative because I'm so concentrated on making sure that this turns out half decent. I usually always go over pretty much every cream product that I use with a sponge because I just feel like it gives the makeup a little bit more of a skin-like look. It's lighter, so it looks like it has more coverage, but you can see my dark circles, the darkness and the blue undertones peeking through because it's not super full coverage, and that's the way that you can tell if concealer is full coverage. If those undertones are still peeking through, really doesn't look too bad underneath the eyes actually either. The e.l.f. HD powder, and this is in the color Sheer. The reason I'm getting rid of this is because not only does it lighten your makeup, but it also has flashback. Usually I would apply my under eye powder with a sponge, but I'm going to apply this one with a brush because I don't want as much powder to stick. Versus when you use a sponge, the sponge almost like melts the product and makes it much more opaque. Really? Guys, I have not been recording. I have this whole face done and I haven't been recording. So let me quickly go ahead and take off from where we left off a second ago because I had to take a bathroom break, and we're gonna go ahead and just reapply all this. The beauties of being a YouTuber, my gosh. I went ahead and reapplied the foundation and tried to keep the concealer underneath my eyes. It kind of worked. I kind of have not worked. Gonna go ahead and go in with cream blush first. This is the Milani Cheek Kiss Liquid Blush, and this is in the color 110 Nude Flush. Only reason I really don't love this is because it just doesn't show up on my skin, but I really love the cream blushes that come in the pots from them. They're some of my favorite formulas, drugstore and high-end. I found with this formula too though, when I put it on top of powder, it just melts my powder away and literally pulls all the makeup from underneath it. So I'm just gonna like quickly put this on because it really doesn't show up anyway. And you can kind of see too where it pulled the makeup off. Let me know if you guys are lighter and have tried this and what you think of it. I did cream bronzer too. Sorry, we're working backwards because I ended up keeping the cream bronzer just as a spoiler alert. e.l.f. Cream Contour Palette, and I'm pretty sure that this is the only color that it comes in. When I used this for the first time, it did not show up on my face at all. But this time when I used it, it actually has pretty good pigment, if you guys can see. I think that this is just gonna be something that I will only be able to use when I lose my summer color, but it's like actually a really pretty bronzy color. Sorry guys, I know that this is a hotmess.com, but I'm trying to figure out what I stopped filming at, and I think that I was in the middle of this powder and I wanted to go ahead and talk about it a little bit more. Originally I told you guys I just wanted to use a brush because I was afraid that it was gonna have flashback, but it really didn't have flashback. It just kind of brightened underneath the eyes, which I actually like when my eyes are a little bit brightened underneath. I went ahead and put it on with a sponge as well, and it really didn't give flashback. It just made it more bright underneath the eyes. It wasn't like two triangles underneath my eyes. So I am actually gonna go ahead and keep this because it did do a good job of smoothing. I'm gonna be interested to see how this does with like full coverage concealers, because if it does have flashback with more full coverage concealers, then I'm gonna get rid of it. So I'm thinking maybe it's not having flashback because the concealers I use weren't full coverage. Now we're gonna go ahead and do powder foundation, and I have two here that I'm gonna use. One size Turn Up the Base Versatile Powder Foundation, and this is in the color Dark 4G. The Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Complexion Perfecting Micro Powder, and this is in the color Deep 4. I'm gonna go ahead and use this one first and then top it off with this one. The reason I'm getting rid of this powder is because I found a dupe that is like a third of the price, and in my opinion, I think actually works a little bit better than this. I have a review on it. It is the Beauty Creations Powder Foundation. It's actually the first dupe of something that I found that I liked better than the thing that it duped. So most of the time when I find dupes, I tend to like both products about the same, or you know, one maybe a little bit more than the other, but not so much that I would like pick one or the other and get rid of one. I feel like the Beauty Creations powder foundation is a little bit more blendable than this one is, but they work pretty much identically. They both have really, really good coverage. And this one is a little bit too dark for me as well. I'm using a less dense powder foundation brush. Just gonna go over top of it a little bit for kicks and giggles. This one is just too cool toned for me. I can make the one size work because it is my undertone, and I was gonna keep it as a bronzer because it is a little bit more cool toned, but I actually have the actual Charlotte Tilbury bronzer. So I was like, okay, there's no need for me to hang on to this. Now it is time for blush. ColourPop Super Shock Cheek Matte Blush, and this is in the color Growth Flirt. I've actually tried multiple colors in this blush, and the first one that I tried was a little bit lighter than this. It was coming off like almost chalky on the face. So I was like, oh, maybe it's chalkier because it's lighter. So I got this color, which is like the most intense, bright pink poppy thing that they had. And it still just does not show up on the face. It almost looks chalky, which is so weird. You guys just saw how many times I dipped into this product, okay? Literally nothing, barely any color at all. The swatch is decent, but it's almost still chalky, which I don't understand because I really don't understand how it can be chalky and be this pigmented at the same time. Like I've never heard of both of those going together. It's usually like chalky and not pigmented. I have dug into this product so much just to get this much color on my face. It's very patchy. It hangs onto certain parts of my cheek weird. I could literally sit here and do this for a million years and it doesn't matter. Like I still barely get any pigment. Okay, that was a little better. I have blushes that are cheaper than this and work way better than this. Next, I'm going to be using the iconic London Illuminator, and this is in the color Original. When I wasn't filming a second ago and used this, I decided to use my fingers, and I think it worked way better with my fingers. So I applied with one finger and I'm blending out with a clean one, and it just looks really good. It's a very nice highlight, but it isn't super glitter heavy, so it's just a true like sheen. I think I used a little bit too much there, but it's okay. Blend that out. And I actually was gonna get rid of this anyways because I was like, oh no, it's high-end. Like, I don't know if I could pay for that again, but this is actually the only liquid highlighter that I've ever used. So I am gonna go ahead and hold on to it if I can find some cheaper liquid highlighters and what I think of those. And if I end up finding a cheaper alternative, then I'll get rid of it. But if I don't end up liking anything as much as I like this, then I'm gonna keep it. When I tried this the first time, I used my brushes, which I use my brushes for pretty much every part of my makeup except for my primer. I'm actually glad that I gave that another chance because it actually is very pretty. Pure sheen highlight. Very happy with the way that this worked. This is the point where I realized I wasn't filming. I was going to line my lips using this Maybelline Color Sensational Shaping Lip Liner in the color 120 Rich Chocolate. It is a roll up, but guys, it is so freaking dry on the lips. Like, look, it broke off and is just so dry. I'll show you guys what it looks like when I try to line my lips. I'm just gonna go ahead and use this all over the lips. This is the Flower Beauty Scribble Stick. And this is in the color 10 Bittersweet. Also was not very impressed with this. It is a roll up, which is why I was so excited to try it, but it's really not the creamiest formula. I tend to prefer roll up because they tend to be a little bit creamier. Oh wait, hold on. That actually swatched really, really easily. So let's see if it does the same thing on the lips. Maybe it just had a little bit of a cast the first time I used it. Okay, that was actually really creamy. I don't love the color on its own. I would definitely pair this with a brown lip liner, but I am gonna go ahead and keep this too. When I tell you, this is what I've been dreading. Morphe Mattifying Continuous Setting Mist. I absolutely love the black Continuous Setting Mist. I think it melts the makeup into the skin seamlessly, but this, no matter how much you shake it, no matter how much you do of anything, it leaves little white dots on your face. I was gonna leave my house with this makeup on and like change the lip, but I have a feeling I'm not gonna be able to do that after I use this. And when I use this, it also will leave little white dots on whatever you spray it on. I'm not doing anymore because I already know what I'm getting myself into. Here come the white dots. Then lastly, for mascara, I'm just gonna use this Petite and Pretty Volumizing Mascara. I just don't ever reach for this. And it has a really clumpy, dry formula. All right, guys, this is the finished makeup look. Don't know how excited I am to be saying that. I don't know if I'm more excited to finish or if I'm more excited to go run and take this makeup off. Not my favorite look that I've ever done, but not my least favorite look that I've ever done. 4 products did get salvaged in this video, so it was not a complete flop. All the makeup that I am getting rid of will be donated or thrown away if it's expired. I have to go through and make 2 separate piles. If you guys would like to see a face of makeup that actually usually turns out pretty decent, I do have lots of full face of first impressions, full face of one brand tutorials, all my playlists linked down in the description box. And I have done one of these before, and I will say that I think this one turned out a little bit better than that one. And I will also link that video right up here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.